This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined on the phone by Dave Coldwell, the new trainer of Derek Chisora. How you doing, Dave?
I'm alright, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. Appreciate your time on the way to football, so I'll make it quick. Talk to me about the link-up with Derek Chisora. Took a lot of people, myself included, by surprise.
Yeah, it took myself by surprise, really, when I looked at my phone one evening and it was Dave A on the phone. I remember saying to my wife, look, I showed her the screen, I went, David A's calling. I just didn't know why. Went upstairs and answered the phone, and we had a bit of a chat, and then he said basically he wanted me to coach Derek, and I was as taken aback as anybody that's seen this press release.
So David just randomly contacted you. When was the time that you spoke to him before that? Because obviously you had your kind of, I think it's fair to say, your differences in the build-up to both Tony Bellew fights. Had you spoken to him intermittently since then?
Yeah, we'd spoken since. I mean, I'll be honest with you. After the injury in the first fight, I did drop him a message on his Instagram just to say, look, hope you recover well. Wish you all the best, because at the end of the day, it's I've got a heart. You don't want to see people, at the lowest. It was just a brief, hope you recover and hope you do well. Since then, since the second fight, we've got a common interest in our sons. Both, we've both got kids that are very athletic and very sporty. His little boy Cassius, who I knew from when the Haymaker days, I always kept an eye on him and on his stories. He's a footballer, but he's a fantastic tennis player, and he competes at tennis. Whereas obviously my son competes at football. So we've kind of like messaged each other as dads about as kids, but nothing boxing related. The only time that we've really spoke, we was both at a boxing show. I can't forget who was fighting, one of Eddie's shows, and we were both sat ringside in the sky seats, and it was the most we've ever spoke ever. Even went back to the Haymaker days. It was the most we've ever spoke. We had a really good chat, and again, it was just about just the fights in general and things like that, and nothing specific. But that was a long time ago, and this was out of the blue. It was kind of by surprise.
Now, the last time I spoke to you was after the Cheeseman fight, when you were talking about the fact that, you, as all trainers do, particularly people who take fighters on the pads, you get your injuries, you kind of wear and tear your elbows, your shoulder, your neck and your back.
Yeah.
You told me that you're not really looking at taking any big man. Why take Derek Chisora? I mean, I assume he's going to hit a lot harder on the pads than, Jamie McDonald.
Yeah. The thing is, it's the same as anybody. I've never asked anybody to come to my gym. I've never asked to train anybody, and I never will. The thing is it's same with Fowler, same with Jordan, same with Tony, same with them all. If I like you and if I see you as a friend and you're asking me for my help, then if it's worth my while, and if it's something that I think is going to gel and I can work with, then if it suits, then I will. And Derek, I got to know since obviously working with Tony. Derek's a good mate of Tony's. I've got to know Derek over the years. I know he's got a lot of respect for me when he spoke before. And I like Del. And I just, he's at a stage of his career. He's not, you're not talking about a 4 or 5 year project. And so I thought, well, yeah, let's give it a go. We had one session as a trial sort of thing. I had a good session, and I thought, you know what, yeah, I can work with this fella. And we've had a week now, and it's been he's a great character. He's actually funny. He's very coachable, which is the main thing. It's been a good week, and I'm quite excited by the prospect. He's still got a lot to.
I appreciate you've just said that David's going to be the one who takes charge of the fights and stuff. But when can we realistically expect to see him in the ring? There's been talk of Joseph Parker. I actually spoke to Kevin Barry not long ago, and he said that that's a potential fight they're looking at.
Yep. So that is yourself, that is a potential avenue that they're looking at. It's down to David and David, Eddie, and Kevin Barry to sort all that out. whether if it gets done, it gets done. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Then they'll look at another avenue. But that is a potential prospect of a fight, and we'll see.
What did you make of his performance against Dillian Whyte?
Oh, I thought he did really well. Listen, I rate Dillian. You're not talking about a guy that's just a decent fighter. You're talking about one of the top heavyweights in the world, and he gave him a hell of a fight. And I think when he lost those points, I think he panicked a little bit, started throwing things when he didn't need to, and trying a little bit too hard. And then he walked onto an almighty left hook, which is heavyweight boxing. Heavyweight boxing, you're only ever one shot away from getting your lights put out.
One thing I did want to talk to you about, when you took David Price, you were talking about kind of dropping him down a little bit, not dropping him down, the opposite, bringing his weight up. One thing that I thought...
No, I never said that about Price's weight.
Oh, right,
Pricey
okay.
was the one that wanted... When Pricey first started back training, he said he was 24 stone. He came down to 20 stone when he fought with me. And it was Price that was the one that said that he felt comfortable at that weight. He felt safer at that weight. He said he absorbed shots better at that weight. That had nothing to do with what he wanted to weigh. That was his how he felt comfortable. Now, when you're dealing with a fighter that's got no confidence, you can't then say, oh no, I think you should go back down to the lighter weight, because he felt that he was getting, when he got knocked out, he was 17.5, 18 stone or whatever it was. He felt safer and sturdier at 20 stone. So, 19, 20 stone, that's the weight that he wanted to box at. That wasn't me bringing him heavier.
All right, okay, well, stand corrected.
People seem to think that, and I got a lot of shit about his weight, but that was his choice. Right. So I'm not taking no rap for that weight.
Okay, you've absolved yourself of that one. Where I was going with that, Dave, is personally I felt that Derek may have been too light against Dillian Whyte. I thought that he was potentially starting to show signs of feeling the shots a little bit, which can happen when you drop down in weight. So is that kind of something that you're looking to visit?
Well, do you know the thing is, that was my worry before the fight.
Yeah, same.
Was the weight wise? Well, would he absorb that? I just wondered, would he absorb the shots as well? But it's a catch-22, because he looked more active at the lighter weight. He looked in better shape at the lighter weight, and he was able to do more. Whether that had a bearing on taking the shots, I'm not so sure. Maybe it's a case of just sometimes when you drop down a weight, you need a couple of fights, or at least one fight to get used to it. So I'm not sure. That's something that we'll talk with David and his S&C team about that, and see what they think. But there's no excuse you can't say about his weight. It is what it is, really. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, well, just finally, because I know your time is very precious at the minute. I do appreciate you talking to me. Next weekend we've got James DeGale versus Chris Eubank Jr. Just final thoughts on that, really.
Do you know what? It's a tough fight. It's a tough fight for James, because I feel at this stage of his career, he's not been performing how he used to do. I don't know if that's because he's a little bit, because he's a little bit maybe on the slide, or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's because if he wasn't getting up for those fights. I know he's up for this fight. As long as he chooses to box and he doesn't fight with his heart, which he has been doing, then I think he's got every chance, and I would tip him to outbox him. But if he stands and has a fight with Eubank's phenomenally strong and ferocious. And so if he stands and fights with him, then he's in trouble.
Okay, well, can I push you for a prediction?
I'm going to go with James on points. I think he's going to be smart. I think because he has to be smart, and he knows he has to be smart. So I'm going to go with James with points in a really, really good fight.
Okay, well, Dave Coldwell, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Appreciate your time. Off with you, and I will see you soon.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, Dave. Bye.
Thanks, mate. Bye.